Okay, Tuesday, July 28th. Let's see what we have. So the day before was an outside day. We opened near the middle of previous day's range. There's like pretty much no bias here, you know. We're at the long-term range midpoint, and as well in the short term here. So daily is like nothing. On the hourly, we do see that we are, you know, we're making lower highs obviously here, and we do have this range, which you can see that we deviated the range high right before the open. So I think it's reasonable to be bullish. Here's range, here's a overnight high and overnight low. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we open here, and we trade aggressively lower, we trade aggressively higher, and we trade lower, and we start to sort of consolidate here. I think it's reasonable at this point to want to go short, because if you look here, you know, here's your range. We deviated the high, you know, you see these equal highs here, we ran those highs. We break lower, we're probably going to trade to the low, and the ETH, the overnight low, makes for a pretty good target. So I think that this was definitely the trade of the day right here. I think that this is, you know, I mean, it's kind of subjective where you enter, of course, as it always is, but yeah. And then after that, you know, we start ranging, and there was one more good setup here. You have your demand zone at range low, and it's also at this level, so there's some confluence there. And you just target range midpoint, right? Here's your range since the open, and you target midpoint, you target this little swing high here for the stops above there. I mean, maybe not necessarily stops, but you know what I mean. And so that's fine. So that was really clean, and then after that it's pretty choppy. I was thinking that perhaps because we took out overnight lows, and then we started grinding higher like this, we were going to go for overnight highs. And so I think that there is an argument to be made for longing somewhere in here. And so that's something that's worth investigating further. But yeah, I didn't really think that there was anything clear for me right now there with my current skill set. Then after that, you know, you can see that first we had an inside bar here, but I figured because it's such a huge range, it's more likely that we just trade higher. Like if we kind of failed at the high here, so then if we get back above, like we probably just go higher into this resistance, which we didn't hit, but we did trade higher. And if you look just on the 1 minute, you know, since the open, it's basically low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. Okay, so I was thinking we have this nice pullback here. We take out these lows, then we immediately trade higher. Price is accepted higher. This is a very clean long here. This is a very, very clean long. And I think that this is a long that makes a lot of sense to make, because we're not yet at the actual resistance. So I think it's totally fine to expect the market to make another high. And it does, so that's very clean. And then after that, like, it's pretty much just a pretty crappy range here. I don't really think that there's any trade setup here. You could argue that, like, here's your low, here's your high, and once it gets above here, you would want to long the retest of range low and target, you know, the midpoint. And that's I think it's okay, but it just doesn't look that clean to me. To me, it seems like the market is just kind of making lower highs, and it's not really like finding acceptance at higher prices. It's just kind of like if you look here, like it technically closed at the level, but it just got rejected very fast, and I think it's honestly too choppy. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine to not trade that. And then it was just shit for the rest of the day. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much the 28th. I don't think there's much else to say. Nope.